Are you ready for this? We wanted to talk about Charlotte, North Carolina versus Greenville, North Carolina, where your money goes actually further.
Now you work hard. You're starting to get raises. You're following the rules. When you look at the bank account at the end of the month, something doesn't always add up. And it looks like you're running in different places. So if you move to North Carolina, like many people are talking about, you probably looked at Charlotte, you probably looked at Raleigh, and maybe if you've been there before and you're feeling the squeeze in your big city where you are in Florida, California, New York, and you know Charlotte's a big city. It has lights, it has the bank. You've lived in a big city. That's what you know. And it feels like the place where success happens. But
what if we will tell you the smartest actually financial move in 2026 is not just moving to another banking banking capital of the South.
What if the real hack is really just driving a few hours east, going a little bit closer to the ocean, but not at the ocean, and now we're looking at the hard data. Really, we're looking at the numbers, and we compare Charlotte to Greenville, North Carolina, which you've probably never heard of, but it is what we're using today as the challenger to Charlotte, and we're going to see where your money actually goes further. And this is what's really it's about. It's not necessarily about the bigger salary, it's about the life quality that you get. And that's what this is at. And at the end of the video, we're going to talk about why you should be calling. Let's do it.
Exactly. Alan Victoria. Hello. This is Alan Victoria Pinder, real estate agent in Greenville, North Carolina. And we are here today to unpack lots of information for you. If you are not decided or on the fence between Greenville, North Carolina or Charlotte, North Carolina, this is usually the single biggest expense that we were talking about. Of course, that is the housing. The housing market that we wanted to look at in Greenville, North Carolina and Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the gap between these two cities actually is absolutely massive. And if you're buying a house in Charlotte right now, you know how much it's gonna cost. You're competing against a hedge fund. You are competing against cash buyers. And what is
at the start of 2026, the median home price in Charlotte, North Carolina is $410,000. Let's be honest, that in many of those neighborhoods you actually want to live in, that number is going to be higher. Now let's look at Greenville. The median home price here is $274,000. Now do the math, 410, 274, and again, it might be the ones that you want might be a little more. Are we talking 300, 330 versus 500, 600? So you have to look at the math and see which one is going. Now, even at the median list price, that's $136,000 difference. That's not just saving money. That's life changing. That's your kid's college fund. That's your retirement plan. That's the difference between being house poor and being financially free. So Greenville is 33% cheaper. So ask yourself this question. Is living in Charlotte, North Carolina worth paying 33% more premium for the roof over your head? And maybe it is. So let's go deeper.
Exactly. It's not just actually the price tag we were talking about. It is the competition. In Charlotte, North Carolina, homes are sitting on the market almost for about 61 days. That is what we have from the housing market. That sounds slow, but supply is massive based on what we have compared to the other area. That means that you are basically going through a lot of noise to find a really good deal for the house that you're looking for. On the other side, in Greenville, North Carolina, homes actually are selling in 37 days. That is the average days on the market based on the housing market data in Greenville, North Carolina. Of course, the inventory on the other side in Greenville, North Carolina is tighter. Why is that happening? What is that?
Well, I'm going to quickly just go off here for a second because somebody once told me when I was younger that you want to find a place where you can afford to live to where you're going to be able to be the king of that area, the king or queen of that area, rather than just being in a big city, a little fish. You want to be the big fish in a little place. And that's something I've always thought about. Because that's really what comes into mind when I think about this. Because a lot of people are catching on to this. Greenville is a buyer's market in any ways, and it is a seller's market in actual data. So if you want a Greenville moves faster than what you think. Greenville, North Carolina definitely moves faster. But you aren't getting a house that's comparable to a big city. And we're not even talking about renting. Rent prices are 46% higher in Charlotte than Greenville. So imagine just cutting that back or being a homeowner, leaving Charlotte and becoming a homeowner. And really that's still cutting your bills almost in half. So cash every month, what are you going to do with that money? You have lots of options. Maybe you can finally start paying off that debt that has grown just from living in a big city.
Or you can invest it
that's
in
even
your
better.
retirement plan.
Right. So
Or maybe you wanted to have that fancy travel or package that you want for many years. That could be another good way to spend it.
that's true. But the big fear people are going to have is I make less money if I move to a smaller town. And we're not going to lie to you. That there is some truth there. That's a truth. But it's not probably as much as you think. That's an illusion in many ways. Yes, Charlotte is a financial hub, second biggest banking center in the United States of America. The average net salary in Charlotte, North Carolina is 24% higher than Greenville. That's significant. But if you're an investor and you're thinking Charlotte has a ceiling that Greenville doesn't have, but you're making 24% more, but your housing costs are 46% more. So the math is upside down. So in Greenville, the price to income ratio is under 5, and in Charlotte is over 6. Want to explain what that means?
Therefore, that means that basically your house in Charlotte, North Carolina is eating a significantly large part of chunk of your paycheck that we were talking about. In Greenville, North Carolina, however, your salary is anchored by stable sectors. And basically you have a huge pillar like East Carolina University and ECU Health or East Carolina University Medical System, and they are what they are.
Recession-resistant job. Now, if you were looking for a Thermo Fisher and private company jobs, we have plenty of those too. But you're looking at those things, you're going to see a smaller number on your offer maybe at ECU Health than you might have somewhere else. But you're going to have a bigger number in your savings account at the end of the year. And it's not just the house. It's the silent budget killers that really matter. Let's talk about the daily expenses.
Exactly. Therefore, when you're looking at the data we are talking about all cost of living data in 2026, it's actually very shocking. Why? You would expect a massive city to have a cheaper goods, right? And that is wrong. Groceries in Charlotte, North Carolina are nearly 37% higher than Greenville, North Carolina. Yes, you heard it right, 37%. And that's the difference between shopping at the discount market and shopping at the high cost organic store in the area. But you're paying that premium just for the basics. How about the dining out?
Well, let's just say I really want to go out to eat. Well, restaurant prices are 22% higher in Charlotte. We have all of them in Greenville, North Carolina. You want to talk about the chains? We have them all. But if you like to eat out every single meal, then that's going to hit your bank account even harder. But I want to be fair. Let's talk about utilities now.
Exactly. Actually, we wanted to talk about basic utilities are actually about 23% cheaper in Charlotte. And depends, of course, the company that you're using.
And I would say in Greenville, it depends on where you're buying this house in Greenville as well. Because if you're moving a little bit further out of the city, why? Big cities have a better infrastructure. So even if you're in Greenville, if you're looking for a city, you need to look for something with the infrastructure. An economy of scale comes with power and water. So your electric bill might be there, but is saving $50 on your electric and heat worth $600 or more in rent or $1,000 in a home price? The math doesn't make sense when you're saving $300 in groceries. So the math there is something to really consider. So the last thing we want to talk about is something that doesn't necessarily have a price tag, which is something that's more valuable than money to everybody. And even if we don't admit it, it's time.
That's time. Exactly. We trade basically our time for money every day. But how much of your time actually you're just trading to sitting in the car in the traffic? In Charlotte, North Carolina, average commute is 26 minutes. Over. And if you live there, you know that is optimistic average. For example, one accident on I-77 or one lane closure in I-485, and this is 26-minute turns into 1 hour, this traffic. And you're losing hours of your life every week just starting at the brake lights.
Now in Greenville, the average commute time is 15 minutes. You get from one side of town to the other, from your job to the gym, from the grocery store to home. And you can do it without even finishing your podcast episode. It happens to me all the time. It takes me 2 trips to finish my podcast episodes. So that's an extra hour of your time every single day, how much is that worth to you? How much could you spend more with your family, your loved ones, your business that you want to work on, your lifestyle? Maybe you love just relaxing and you want to go sit in your backyard. This is what you're giving up getting when you pick a smaller market sometimes. Because again, I told you want to be king of your city sometimes. And Greenville offers a pace of life that's hard to ignore. Yes, downtown has the college life. We're not going to lie to you about that. So if you are looking for the college life, it does matter even when you're a working adult with kids, because that's where I can go for arts. That's where I can go for plays. That's what I can go for things that are kind of, artistic. But when it comes to the crushing big city congestion, no thanks. If you're young, maybe you want Charlotte. That's not gonna lie.
And if your primary goal is climbing the corporate ladder as high as possible, again, could be Charlotte, could be one of your choice. If you need to be in a room with the Fortune 500 CEOs, then Charlotte still is your play. You pay the city tax for the NFL games and international flight. But if your goal is to maximize your investment, your wealth, to protect you and your loved one for the future, and you wanted to build equity on your own time, Greenville, North Carolina definitely is a clear winner for 2026. And it requires to look away from shiny objects.
Basically, buying a home for $274,000 versus $410,000 shows that you're looking for more stability. And if you're looking for new construction, we are talking, instead of a condo, it's a $300,000 range. We can look at that too. Often you're eating out for less money than what we're spending on houses here, and you're spending less time in your car, and you're enjoying your life more. So the data tells us that the big city life of Charlotte does have a price tag. So the value isn't necessarily going to be for the average buyer. So let's look at your budget. Look at your goals. What is that zip code doing for your life? Is it going to impress people, or are you there for your own wealth purposes? What are you trying to do with it? Where are you going to get your money? And if you're looking for your money to go further, the answer is 100% Greenville.
Exactly. And Greenville, North Carolina is not just the cheaper option, and mathematically is a smarter option, because everything is about the number. And if the number doesn't work for you on the thing, it doesn't worth to put so much energy to it. And thank you for watching here. Alan Victoria Pinder, real estate agent in Greenville, North Carolina. We are here to help you every step of the way. Please give us a call at 252-327-3357. Don't forget to watch all of our playlists, because we are here committed to give you all the information that you need to move to this area, and comparing this area with many areas that you might have already looked. And don't forget to subscribe in our channels and write us the comment, and we'll love to connect with you.